Hi everybody, it's Stephanie from Creating with Stamps. Welcome to my Fabulous Friday video. Today I'm going to feature the Scalloped Tag Topper Punch. It's a tongue twister also. And I'm going to make these three cute little projects for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the Foxy Friends, which is new in the annual catalog that just launched here June 1st. I'm going to set him right up there. So what you're going to need is a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is just a little bit shy of 2 inches. The base, or the channel on here, is 2 inches wide, and if you cut it exactly 2 inches, it can be kind of a little bit difficult to slide it in and out of the punch. So, I mean, just a hair shy of the 2-inch mark works great. So you just go ahead and slide your piece all the way in. It'll stop. I don't know if you can see that. It stops when it hits the back side, and then that's all you need. Just a light push. And it gives you this nice scallop top with a little hole for your ribbon. And then I'm going to use a piece of Daffodil Delight. It's 2 1/4 by 3 3/4 inches. And I'll put all the sizes in that on in the description box below. It'll also be on my blog. So we're using the Foxy Friends stamp set, and this is like a 2-step stamp set. There's lots of different critters that you can make with it. I'm just starting to explore, and I've seen lots of things, lots of fun things online. Like I said, this is new in the annual catalog. Okay, so I'm going to use Cajun Craze ink for my fox. And I'm going to slide him out of the way because I don't want to get him all inky. And I love the photopolymers because you can see right where you're going to put them. And I'm going to offset him a little bit so that, because he's just a little bit wider than the paper is. And I use my grid paper to line up. We're just going to stamp it right down and just give it a good press. Okay. And then for his face, we have this cute little stamp. It's got whiskers, his nose, his eyes, his mouth. There's several different, you can just do just his eyes and a nose, or lots of options. And I'm going to use my Memento ink. I'm going to ink that up, and then you just eyeball where it needs to go on there. And there you go. Okay. And then I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight Stampin' Writer for the sentiment. And this is actually out of the Thoughtful Banners stamp set, which is also new in the catalog. And I'm just going to go ahead and ink up the... I'm hoping that my dogs don't notice the neighbor outside before I get the video done. He's out there mowing, and they like, you know, he's like the next best thing to the mailman for them. So it can be quite interesting when they're outside, when he's outside mowing. So we're just going to go ahead and center this. And then I'm going to use I use the brush, or the paintbrush tip to color the marker with, or to color the stamp with. And then I'm going to use the fine tip, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do some faux stitching on here. It just gives it a little bit of extra something along the edges of it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, your lines don't have to be the same length. They don't have to be the same space apart. It's not crucial. And my camera hopefully is not going to shake too much. I notice it's wobbling a little bit here as I'm using my marker. I've never seen it do that before, so hopefully no one gets motion sick. So just around the top. And I love the top of this punch because it gives it just a little bit of structural element, you know, to the project. So then I'm using a piece of the organza ribbon, and I just kind of eyeball it. I don't measure. I'm gonna cut that. And then I'm gonna thread it through. It's just a little bit wider than this opening here, but it'll go through. Just be mindful that this is actually, just paper, so don't pull too hard on it because it's already been compromised a little bit because it's got the hole there. So then I'm just going to lay that down, and I'm going to take a piece of the thick white baker's twine, and I'll try to do this so you can see it. I'm left-handed, so it's always a little bit more of a challenge for me to get this done right. And just kind of pull it, make your bow, or I should say get it done so that people can see me when I'm doing it. So you just have to play around with it a little bit, right? Until you get it, how you want it. And just go ahead and snip the end up. And then we're just gonna go ahead and put some, yeah, kind of hard to see from this angle whether it was on there or not. And I love my fast fuse. Once I figured out how to use it, it can be tricky in the beginning, but it's worth it. I actually made this piece of yellow cardstock just a little bit longer than I intended to, but it still works out the same. So there you go. That'd be cute, just putting them on a package. You could actually put it on a card front to build a card with it. Lots of things you can do with that. So let me move all this stuff aside, and we're gonna do the next book or tag. I've used them for bookmarks too. That's why I keep going to call it a bookmark. Is going to be done using the Bella and Friends stamp set, which is another new stamp set from the catalog. And the new Flirty Flamingo Ruche ribbon and Flirty Flamingo ink. So this piece of Whisper White is just under the 2 inches, like I said for the first one. They're all just shy of 2 inches wide by 4 1/4 inches long. And just give it a push. Okay. And for Bella, I'm using Crumb Cake ink. I'll slide that over there. And the Flirty Flamingo ink. And I'm also going to use the Flirty Flamingo Stampin' Right and an aqua painter. Just got to make a little bit of room over here for my stuff. So I'm going to do Bella in the crumb cake. Make sure I got enough ink on there. And just a little bit, just kind of center it on there. Okay. Now I use the aqua painter and I just ever so lightly, because I don't want to smear like her eyes and nose and stuff. Went around and colored her in like a little bit darker on the edges and very faint in the center. And if you've never used the aqua painter, the best way to use it is you take your ink pad and you just squeeze it right down the middle, just gently. You don't need anything hard, just a little bit of pressure. Open it up, and then you gotta have this little well here that you can use to wet your aqua painter. So then I just started out on the side, just shaded a little bit darker on the sides. Hopefully my hand's not in your way. I'm going to slide this up a little bit. It's that whole left-handed thing. And then just kind of you know, shadow it off here, or taper it off, I should say, as you get a little bit further away from the edge. And it looks really, really light like in the beginning, but it does darken up a little bit after the ink dries. And you don't want to get the paper super wet because I'm not using the watercolor paper. This is just the plain Whisper White cardstock. And this just takes a minute to do. And you know, if you get it too wet, then it'll start pilling, where the paper will start like balling up. It can also warp the paper a little bit so that it's harder to, like, if you wanted to adhere it to a card front or something, it would be a little bit harder. It would bow up a little bit. Almost done here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the thing I love about the aqua painters. Honestly, there's no right or wrong way to use them. There you go. Oh, almost forgot Bella's ear. Although you could leave it white. She could have a white ear. There. All right. So then I use the Flirty Flamingo Stampin' Right marker and the paintbrush tip, and I just colored in her little heart there. And then using the Flirty Flamingo ink and it's just for you sentiment. It's out of the Bella and Friends stamp set again. Just ink it up and just center it. Probably could have went a little bit higher with it, but you know, you can adjust it how. And then once again, I'm just going to go ahead and do the faux stitching. I love these fine tip markers for this. Trying not to wiggle my camera too much. I'm filming at the different spot today, so I'm thinking that might be what's going on with the camera wiggling, because I've never had it wiggle. Usually it's not attached to the work surface that I'm using, but because I've relocated to a different place, it's attached today. So okay, so I'm just going to take a piece of the ruched ribbon. That looks good. Just give it a snip. And then I'm going to run it through. I'm going to double it over and then push it through. But remember, this fits through better, but you still have to be careful when you're pulling ribbon through the holes, because we don't want it to rip. And then pull that through. And ever so carefully. I do one at a time just because I don't yank so hard. If I do both of them, I have a tendency to pull really super hard on it. And I don't tighten it down like super tight. You take a glue dot and roll it up. And then just tuck it right under there. Push it down, and it'll help hold that ribbon right on so it doesn't come off. Because it is such a loose knot that it could very easily come undone if you don't use the glue dot. So there's that one. And this one, I think you could, you can attach to the bag. You can, put it right on the present, however you want to do it. There's lots of different options. Okay, and so the last project we're going to do, I find my, where I laid my sample. Oh, it's hiding over here. Is the ladybug. And this is from the Lots of Love, or Love You Lots Hostess set. You can only get this when you host a private class or event and have a qualifying order. So if you're interested in getting this stamp set, let me know and we'll get you hooked up with it. Okay, so again, it's the same size paper as the Bella and Friends, the Whisper White. It's a little shy of 2 by 4 1/4. Same process here. And the neat thing about this punch is you can use it to make bookmarks, you can use it to make gift tags, you could do both ends of this and make a small gift tag to go, you know, and wrap it around the gift itself, put a ribbon through each end and wrap the ribbon around the gift. There's so many things you can use this for. I'm working on more projects for this punch. And we also have an angle topped punch from Stampin' Up. I don't have that up here with me though. Okay, so I'm using the ladybugs from the Love You Lot stamp set, and the sentiment is thank you friend from the same set, with my black stays on and a red Stampin' Right marker, real red. Oops, get everything turned around here. Go ahead and stamp this on. Try to get like halfway up or so. Okay, oops, I got a little smear. I pushed just a little, so you have to be really careful. If this were a card, you could flip it over the other way. It's a little bit harder to do when it's a tag. You could mount it to a card though, and you'd be all right. You could flip it if you needed to. So then I'm going to go ahead and do the sentiment. There you go. Slide this over there, and then we're going to take the Stampin' Right, and I use the brush tip, and we're going to color the ladybugs. I go around the dots just because I want the white in the dots to show through too. I don't know. I mean, it's up to you how you do it. I guess it doesn't even go over that. Yeah. Go right over top of that. I love these ladybugs. In my other life, my other career, I worked in a child care center. I was a lead infant teacher, and the name of my room was the Ladybug Room, so I have a fondness for them. And then again, I'm just going to do the faux stitching. And again, I'm sorry about the camera shaking. Oi. I'm not even watching on the monitor and I can still see it shaking. Maybe I should put a warning in the title. Don't watch while eating. Could make somebody motion sick. Okay. So then, for this bow, I just took the Whisper White, the thick Whisper White. I almost call it cardstock because I'm so used to that's all I use is cardstock. Baker's twine. And I just made loops. I just looped like 4 of them. You just hold it with your finger in the middle. One more. And then I just cut a tail. And then I just snipped another smaller piece. And make sure you keep track of which tail is which. So these are the tails we're going to want to keep. So I'll point those down. And I'm going to wrap it from the front. And just tie a knot in the back. Whew, come here. That twine wants to get away. So I see how these have adjusted a little bit from fooling around. You can pull and tweak them a little bit after you get that initial knot on there. Try to untwist them. It's a lot of rope to keep, a lot of material to keep track of there. So this is one of the ends for the knot. And I actually tie a knot, not just not just once, I tie it twice. And then just snip those ends. As short as you can go without cutting. Okay. And then again, you can tweak it a little bit more. You want the ribbons a little bit bigger. You just got to figure out which end goes to which. And when you're happy with it, make sure you tuck those little ends towards the back. We're going to take a glue dot. Oops, sorry about that. The glue dot on the back of it and just stick it up above there. Now you can leave that longer if you want. I'm going to trim it just a little bit so they match. There you go. You can play with this a little bit more, fluff the bow, you know, however you want. Make sure you got those little ends tucked under, but there you go. It's a simple tag. And like the other three, you can add it to a gift package. You can just, you know, or you can add it to a card. You can use these as bookmarks also. You know, this is like the right length. It doesn't have to be real long, but well, there you go. There's 3 projects using the Scalloped Tag Topper Punch and some of the new sets from Stampin' Up. I hope you enjoyed today's video. You'll find all the information on the products I used and the paper sizes on my blog at creatingwithstamps.com. I'll put a link down below in the description box. I hope you have a great day. Happy stamping!